Hello, so it's Adam Franklin here, and I've got the pleasure of being joined by Andy Crestodina. He's the Strategic Director at Orbit Media Studios and the author of the book that I'm currently reading, Content Chemistry. Thanks for joining us, Andy.
My pleasure, Adam. Great to be here. Good to see you again.
Likewise. Now, what a lot of people may not know about me is that I'm actually a marketing person, but I've got a chemistry degree. So with your book, Content Chemistry, you had me at the title, mate.
Perfect. You're probably the only actual chemist to read it.
Well, it's excellent. And I do just want to dive into a couple of questions with you, if that's okay.
Sure.
I've really noticed that you've been guest blogging on all the sort of major blogs around the internet, and you've been doing tons and tons of it. I'd really like you to share with our viewers what the power of guest blogging is.
Sure. Well, to start with, it's the most fun you'll ever have web marketing, I think. Guest blogging, it just made me much more excited about my job and about marketing in general since I discovered it. But functionally, of course, and technically, there are two main benefits to guest blogging. One is search and one is social. And the book, as you just saw the cover there, I'm all about combining all three channels, search, social, and email. But guest blogging is where search and social intersect. So obviously, there are very few sustainable, ethical link building strategies left. Links still matter a lot in Google. Why would anyone just link to anybody? They have to have a good reason to. If you want someone to link to you have to give them value. In other words, you have to give them content. You have to do something for their audience. So basically, there's a bazillion blogs and they all need great content and their audiences have high expectations. So they're looking for more than they can create internally. So they reach out and they solicit sometimes actively, or they accept passively posts from guest bloggers, guys like me, guys like you. So when you do that, you get at least one link back, of course, a link in your bio. Also, if you're more active about it, depending on their link guidelines, you may be able to put other links in the body. And as always, right, it has to add value to the post. It has to be useful to the readers. So that's one of the fun things about it, or one of the big benefits is that you get, it's a way to sustainably and ethically grow links, especially if you're deliberate about targeting blogs that have high domain authority or high credibility themselves.
Nice.
Other benefit? No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, how do you find the right blogs? Like, how do you pick the ones with the good backlink juice?
Right. There's an easy way to do it, and that's through Mozbar. It's the Moz toolbar. Just it's a free tool, and once you install that, just while you're researching keywords or as you're looking at any site, if you see it in Google search results, it'll show you the domain authority of each of the blogs there. You can also just put it right into Open Site Explorer. As a general rule, I would only, if you're doing it for SEO reasons, and that's not the only reason, you might want to just target sites that have a higher domain authority than yours, generally speaking. Something to keep in mind, more credible websites are exponentially more credible. So a site with a domain authority of 80 might be worth 5 or 10 times as much as a site with the domain authority in the 70s. So it really, really matters if that's the point of blogging for you, if that's one of your main reasons is to build up your own domain authority. But like I said, I mean, social is another giant benefit to guest blogging. So it's sort of, this tactic kind of makes all the blog editors the guardians of quality in Google, because you have to really give them a good pitch. You have to have good content. You have to make a good connection with them, or else why would they post anything there? So that's the fun part about it, is that it's not spammy. It's not focused on robots. You have people, and really it benefits people that are good at online networking.
Thanks, Andy. Now, you've mentioned that the Moz toolbar, I'll put a link to that. I use it myself, and I recommend viewers download that, and it does actually allow you to analyze a website when you visit it to see what page and domain authority it does have. So I'll include that as a link. But you mentioned going for these really high, 80 plus page or domain authority websites. I presume that those sort of people get tons and tons of guest blogging requests. Do you have a process that you can share with us in terms of reaching out to these bloggers?
Well, it takes patience, it takes persistence, it takes empathy. Empathy, I've always said, is the greatest skill for a marketer to have. So just be really sensitive and aware of what that blog is looking for. It takes research, know what their frequency is, what kind of posts they like, know what what topics they've been writing about lately. Don't submit something that they've just written about. unless you're submitting a contrarian. Try submitting something that they've never written about, but would be valuable to their audience. But it's networking, which is also offline. So a lot of the posts, the places that I've submitted are people that I've met at conferences. So when you go to a conference and you see a speaker, and if they're an editor of a blog, it's a chance to meet them. But I would do it gradually, just build it up slowly over time. Anyone that you're, if you're just starting out, pitch to any site that has an audience that you think might benefit from that post. And then obviously the normal marketing principles apply. Blog on places where your audience might be reading now. Where does your target audience hang out? If you're selling heavy equipment, pro blogger might not be where your audience is. So more important than domain authority might just be, hey, my audience is reading this blog. I want to be over there. So that's a
awesome.
Marketing 101.
Okay, no, that's great. I really appreciate that. The next thing I'd like to talk to you about is the fact that Google's is now encrypting a lot of the keyword information that keyword researchers and people that focus on guest blogging and particularly SEO. It's really thrown a spanner in the works. Now I know that you are very knowledgeable in SEO. Would you mind giving us a quick description for the layperson as to what's actually the change that's actually taken place with Google?
Sure. So for years we've had a report in analytics under traffic sources. It's now called acquisition. Traffic sources, search, and then you can see it was called organic, and in there you can see all the queries, all the things that people were using to find your site. And it connected the keyword that the person used to that visit. So you can see these keywords had people who saw this many pages per visit, this average number of pages per visit. This percentage of people from this keyword turned into leads or turned into subscribers. That data starting in 2011, late 2011, they started to not provide that data. And it literally says in parentheses, not provided, if the search was done while the person was logged in to a Google product, which made it encrypted. In other words, HTTPS. Or depending on the browser, some browsers, the search bar always gives you an encrypted search. So in those cases, there's more and more examples of where the searches we're doing are giving us search results pages where it's encrypted, HTTPS. So as time goes on and more people are using encryption, whether it's Google's decision or not, webmasters and website owners get less and less of this data. Long story short, almost 90+% of keyword data is now not provided. So if you're looking at that report, you're not seeing much information. So we're all looking for alternatives now to getting some of this info. There's one place, of course, still, if you connect Webmaster Tools to analytics, you can get you still get the queries report. So under acquisition, search engine optimization, queries, you can see keyword data. It just doesn't show you what page they land on, how many pages they visited, what percentage became leads. All it shows you is the number of impressions, the number of clicks, the average rank, or position they call it, and the click-through rate. So you can still get some of this data. You can still kind of figure out, well, people who search for this phrase, they must have been landing on that blog post. That phrase is all about, that blog post is the only page on my site that's relevant for that phrase. So we have to use other things. If you set it as a search tool, you can set up analytics to show you what people are searching for on your own site. Just by looking at what pages are getting traffic from organic without the keyword, you can still kind of figure out how people are finding you. But this is the direction of search. It's getting more contextual. It's getting less about long tail. It's getting, Hummingbird is this update where it's more about semantics and more about meaning. So rather than being tricky about key phrases, it's even more important for us to just focus on things that give a great experience, deep content, quality content, focus on ideas and topics rather than long specific keywords.
Okay, so are there any other, real easy tools? I don't know, like is Google Instant, is that a real sort of easy way to be doing very basic keyword research for people who aren't as technically minded as going into their analytics?
Yeah,
or not?
No, I love that tool because a lot of people sit down and stare at a blank screen and don't know what to write about. So that keyword report was a fun place to look to see what people are finding you for, what you're relevant for, what you can write about. So if you're looking for topics and topics that have an advantage in search, in other words, topics that are aligned with keywords, then Google Suggest is a fun way to do it. Is that what you mean when you type into Google and it suggests topics?
Yeah, that's right. It instantly populates what the things that you could be searching for.
Yeah. So I was at a conference last week and sat next to Ginny Dietrich from Spin Sucks. I don't know if you know her. I'm a giant Ginny fan, and her blog, spinsucks.com, is a super fun place to guest blog. That's a great example of how you get huge social benefits. The community is hilarious. Those people talk to each other in comments all day long. The comments on that blog are off the charts. Anyway, Ginny and I were sitting next to each other looking at Google Suggest, but we were using a tool to do it called Uber Suggest. Adam, have you seen this yet?
Yeah, I know Uber Suggest. Yeah, I think you mentioned it on a blog and I looked it up.
Yeah, it's so great. So ubersuggest.org, what it does is it scrapes Google Suggest as if you were typing in phrases. So for her, she has a PR and communications blog. So if you put in the word, a combination of words, it's going to tell you what Google would suggest as if you typed the next letter. So if you put in YPR, it has like hundreds of suggestions that start with the phrase, YPR. So things like YPR is better than advertising. YPR, doesn't work for this industry, or all kinds of topics and suggestions. So if you wrote a post on one of those, even without keyword data, even without using a keyword planner, that people are searching for, YPR is better than advertising. So if you wrote a post on that topic, YPR is better than advertising, it's going to have a natural advantage in search because the topic came from a Google instant. It came from Uber Suggest. So I think that's it's a great way to get out of writer's block. It's a great way to align content with phrases. It's a great way to just read the minds of a billion people using Google. It's always fun to do keyword research.
Thanks for that tip. I'll include a link to Uber Suggest in the blog post as well. Now, Andy, where can people go to find out about you?
Orbitmedia.com. We put out a lot of marketing content, even though we really are a web design company. But we do our best to just teach anyone who's interested as much as they want to learn about search, social, email, analytics. So the blog at orbitmedia.com. You can also find me, my Twitter handle is my last name, @Crestodina. So I'm constantly sharing stuff. I share your stuff, Adam. I love, I always appreciate it when people share stuff with me, and I try to help other marketers whenever I can. But sadly, the book, I got another complaint today.
Oh, what's that?
The book is not available. The book, you can't buy the book in Australia.
Is that right? Not even through Amazon?
I don't think so. I think it's not available. So, when you share that, you're frustrating people. I have to figure out how to make that available there.
Yeah, because my package came through without Amazon packaging on it, but
Oh, really?
Yeah. So maybe it is, maybe it's not.
I'm going to look into it. Let's see if we can add that to the notes, because maybe I can make a promo code and get you guys the ebook somehow down there. But there are people in Australia who are writing to us through our forums saying that they want it and they're having trouble getting it. So I'll do what I can to help them out. I'll send you some info.
Maybe an ebook or the Kindle or something's the way to go for us Aussies down under.
Yeah, I feel bad. I want to help you guys out. I know that you got doing such great things down Bluewire, and all the stuff you put out is fantastic. You must have an amazing influencer strategy because you've got great names all over the place.
Oh well, you're one of them now, Andy. So we really appreciate you joining us.
Honored.
And how's everything going in Chicago?
Today's the first cold day of the year. It's just all at once. We had our first freeze last night. But there's tons of stuff happening. We're doing lots with live events. So tonight is Wine and Web. Tomorrow we have Chicago Cause. We give away a website to a nonprofit once a year. Thursday is Design Brew, which is it's like Wine and Web, but it's beer themed, and it's about web design instead of web marketing. But having a lot of fun here. There's people here just seem to be moving along, doing great, helping each other out a lot. It's a really collaborative community, so things are good.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you so much, and I'll share this with our audience, and on behalf of everyone in Australia, thanks very much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you, Adam. This
You're
was
welcome.
an honor. Okay.